Hey guys, this is the RPG tutorial demo. Now I don't have a title yet because I'm beginning to think that the Wookiee Rookie is maybe a little bit too copyrighty and I shouldn't touch it. Anyway, this is supposed to be a beginner guide on how to play RPGs in general, but more specifically Star Wars: Edge of the Empire. When you play Star Wars: Edge of the Empire, it's supposed to encompass the feeling of the movie. You are an actor in these scenarios, and the world is your playground. The game master that I'll be playing plays the role of the director and all of the extras. You will be one of the main characters. And this game is structured so that 4 people can play together in this format. Now when you go through the game, you can't just say, I'm gonna do this and do it, because you don't always succeed. I can say, I'm gonna climb that brick wall, but I can't do it. And that's what the dice rolls are for. They're supposed to show how you as a person react in certain scenarios, how you as a character are able to perform. When you create your base character, you generate a set of stats, 6 characteristics that define who you are. Your brawn, which is your physical strength and size. Your agility, which is your nimbleness and your dexterity. Your intelligence, which is just that, how smart you are. Your cunning, how creative you are and how able you are to deceive other people. Your willpower, which is your mental strength. And finally, your presence, which is your charisma, your personality, your chutzpah. These 6 core numbers form who you are as a character. And when you try and do something, these numbers dictate how many dice you roll. Anything you try and do in the game world falls under a series of skills. If you're trying to do something like climb a wall, that would be athletics. If you're trying to do something like fly through space, that's piloting. If you're trying to coordinate the best way to get from Coruscant all the way to Eden Prime, that would be astrogation. Each one of these skills correlates to one of these characteristics: athletics to brawn, piloting to agility, and astrogation to intelligence. This is the ability dice. It is the core dice. If you're performing an action that is untrained, you roll a number of these dice equal to that characteristic. So, when I'm trying to scale my wall, my brawn is probably at like 2 or 3. I would roll 3 ability dice to see how I would do. Next is the proficiency dice. The proficiency dice shows us a level of training or an innate ability to do something. So, when you train in one of these skills, you get proficiency dice equal to your skill rating. So if I'm a navigator who spends a lot of time looking at star charts, I'm going to be able to upgrade that astrogation skill thing. If I'm an extremely brawny guy who does a lot of work, I get to upgrade my athletics. And if I'm a pilot who's been to pilot school and does a lot of flying, I get to upgrade my pilot skill. Now you take the higher of these 2 values, your skill value or your characteristic, and you take that number of skill dice. So again, if I'm trying to climb the brick wall, let's give me 3 ability dice. Let's pretend that my athletics rating is 1. I would upgrade one of these dice to the proficiency dice. This would form my core ability to do something, how able I am to climb the brick wall. There's another dice. This is called the boost dice. The boost dice is intended to showcase when you have an advantage in a situation. If I have the high ground in a firefight, or maybe I know this area really well, so I get a boost while piloting in this area. These boost dice aren't as powerful as the ability or the proficiency dice, but they're there to give you a slight edge. Now, to each of these positive dice, there's the flip side to them. For the ability dice, there's the difficulty dice, showcasing just that, how difficult a task is to accomplish. There's the setback dice, which correlates directly to the boost dice. It shows negativity in a situation, like if it's raining. And finally, the challenge dice is the opposite to the proficiency dice, upgraded to show a really, really difficult task. Like for example, if you're fighting Darth Vader. You assemble a pool of dice based off of all of these factors. So for my scaling the brick wall scenario, my brawn rating is 3. I will put 3 ability dice down. Then, because we have an athletics value of 1 for me, we will upgrade one of these ability dice to a proficiency dice. And because this is my living room and I know it well, I'll give myself a boost dice. Why not? Now let's look at the opposite side of the things. It's a brick wall. So this is going to be really hard. Let's give it a daunting rating of 4. And because it's a brick wall, let's give it 1 setback dice. And finally, because there's no way I'm actually going to be able to climb this brick wall without hurting myself, let's pretend one of these difficulty dice is upgraded to a challenge dice. To see if you succeed or fail one of these rolls, you roll them all together and look for symbols that cancel each other out. This is the success symbol. This is the failure symbol. These two things cancel each other out. If there is one uncanceled success symbol remaining, you pass the test and you're able to do whatever it is you said you do. If there isn't at least one success symbol, the entire check fails. This is the advantage symbol, and this is the threat symbol. Again, these two symbols cancel each other out. Threat and advantage work kind of like a story. We all remember the Battle of Yavin when Luke was flying through this X-Wing being an amazing pilot even though we've never seen him fly before. Well, if you remember, he went on this attack run on the Death Star where he was shooting at it, there was explosions, and they show some people getting hurt, and then there was a huge plume where he had to fly through it, and Biggs was like, "Luke, are you alright?" Well, let's look at that as a successful roll, but that generated threat. He managed to damage the Death Star, however, he was put in danger himself because of the resulting explosion. This is the triumph symbol. If you get one of these, it counts as both a success and a powerful advantage. So even if the success of the triumph is canceled out, I still get a really good benefit. For example, if I rolled a triumph on my brick wall, not only would I climb this brick wall, I would scale it and there would be handholds for everybody to follow me. The exact correlation to this is the despair symbol. A despair is the same thing. It works as both a failure and as threat, powerful threat. So even if the despair is canceled out by a success, something bad still happens. Like when I try and climb this brick wall, I fall and I hurt myself, which is probably what would happen. Despairs and triumphs don't cancel each other out. So again, we have our dice pool right here, and we roll it. So that's the most simplified version I can give you of this core mechanic. You have your skill, which has a correlating characteristic. Whichever two is higher shows you how many of the ability dice you choose. The other one shows how many you upgrade to proficiency dice. The difficulty of the task is determined by the game master. You roll all of these dice together, and if you have one success, you succeed in whatever it is you're trying to do.